everybody, what's going on? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel. Got another video for you guys here today, and I wanted to focus in on Michael Gallup and really what the Cowboys are looking to do with him, not only this season, but also in the long term, and a couple other things I wanted to discuss about Gallup. Now, before we get fully into it, if you guys could do me a favor and hit the like button, that'd be greatly appreciated, as well as subscribing to show your support for this video and as well as the channel as a whole. Over 88% of you guys watching are not subscribed, so if you do like what you're seeing and you want to stick around, why not subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. So, look, the Dallas Cowboys have put their trust in Michael Gallup with not only re-signing him after his ACL injury, they also restructured his contract this year. And the biggest thing is that the Cowboys, with how they've constructed this wide receiver core, it's really to be Lamb, Cooks, and Gallup as the top three dudes on roster. Now, we know with Gallup, we saw him have an upward trajectory through the early parts of his career. Then the ACL injury happened. And the question now is, well, where do we go from here? Because we saw what happened last year. Michael Gallup being injured hurt the Cowboys a lot because his effectiveness wasn't there. Sure, he would make a play here or there, but the problem is when you're asking this dude to be the reliable number 2 option and he isn't playing up to that, it really doesn't help your offense a whole lot. Now, of course, they're talking about giving him an expanded role. They're talking about how good he's looking, right? And we all hope for the best. The question becomes then, what exactly should we be looking for Michael Gallup to do and the scenarios that could be involved there, right? Because we know CeeDee Lamb is the A1 day one guy here in Dallas at that wide receiver position, right? Look, at the end of the day, we know Lamb's going to get his targets. He's going to get the stats that come along with those targets. We get that. That's cool. But my main thing is that we don't care about that anymore. We've gotten to a point to where in Mike McCarthy's tenure, this is a good thing, by the way, where the Cowboys have moved in the right direction, where now we're focused in on the playoffs. We're not like, oh, can we please get to the postseason and hopefully something? No. Now the expectation with Mike McCarthy building the whole thing there is get to the postseason, win your matchups, and hopefully you get to February and you win there. I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to do that, but if they're going to do that, right, to be completely real with you, it's going to be guys like Gallup, guys like Cooks, guys of that caliber that need to step up. Because if they don't, this whole operation breaks down. So when you look at what Gallup has done in the last 2 seasons, right, been hurt in 2021, right, you had the calf injury, then he comes back, he looks good, then he gets the ACL injury. That impacts him for 2022. He has his worst season to date, right? You have 39 receptions, 424 yards, and only 4 touchdowns, which, by the way, I understand that Gallup is not the number 1 here in Dallas. I'm not trying to act like the dude needs to be a 1,000-yard receiver for me to like the guy. But the issue is the effectiveness in games, right? When you look at the postseason stats, in 2 games, the dude only had 5 receptions, 46 yards, and 1 touchdown in the Buccaneers game. And that's what worries me, is that if Gallup is going to consistently put up that stat line for the money you're paying him to be hopefully your number 2 in the long term, you now have to have conversations of do you let him go after 2023. And for me, the expectation is Gallup, assuming he plays all of the games this season, should at least get somewhere between 700 to 1,000 yards and maybe like 5 to 8 touchdowns. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too high. Maybe I'm being too strict. But for the money he's commanding, he needs to be a reliable number 2 option aside Lamb. If that ACL injury really screwed him up, then we're shifting the focus of you need to draft a wide receiver next year. And this is a really bad time for Gallup to not return to form, because this is arguably the best shot the Cowboys have at winning a championship in the 21st century, if I'm being real with you, considering the fact that the NFC's weak, the AFC, you just got to deal with one opponent and you just get the luck of the draw there. The Cowboys have a path that's built for them. It's a matter of if they can go along that path. Now, you might be asking, well, what kind of contract are we dealing with Michael Gallup? Okay, so right now Michael Gallup is a cap hit of $6.7 million. His money really kicks in the last 3 years of the deal because the Cowboys touched his contract, right? So you look at the money here. 13, 15, 15. That's the millions of dollars that are going towards Michael Gallup. If you elect to cut him post June 1st, or you designate him that, the Cowboys can save about a total of $5 million. Now, the biggest thing is, what do you do? Because if the Cowboys, which they do have an eject button after this year, things go terribly, what worries me is then you're banking on Brandon Cooks, who he's still, 30, and you have him for 2 years. But then you have guys like, Jalen Tolbert, Simi Fehoko that you need to have step up, which I have my doubts there, right? If they don't step up, then you're screwed and you're forcing yourself to go after a wide receiver once again to pair alongside Lamb. And, if that doesn't help you, you're going to end up in a situation where you were last year, right? You might have another extra weapon that can help you out, and maybe, just maybe, that's enough. But as we've seen, the Cowboys have been changing up their offense, and maybe, just maybe, that helps out Gallup and company. But again, Michael Gallup is going to be key to the Cowboys ultimately getting to where they want to go. Because he's going to be looked at as the number 2. And on top of that, who's behind him that you can say, you know what, hopefully he can be better and step up? The Cowboys are going to play him because the money's there. And that's what scares me, is that this could blow up in the Cowboys' face, because remember, the Cowboys had to make a decision. Do you pay Michael Gallup? Do you keep Amari Cooper? And Amari Cooper has done well in Cleveland thus far. I understand we had our situations with him. But at the end of the day, this whole Michael Gallup thing is going to loom large on that in the retrospective of that trade and that decision that we elected to go for Michael Gallup as opposed to keeping Amari Cooper. Oh, space you keep talking about. Because that could be a huge juncture point to where the Cowboys might have, swung and missed on an opportunity they might not get for a while. Just the truth of the matter. So again, I really, really hope that Michael Gallup ends up returning to form. I don't need him to be the number 1 wide receiver on this team. That's not what I'm looking for. All I'm looking for is this dude to show up and show out when he is called upon. And if he can do that, this team will be just fine in 2023. If not, we're going to have some serious conversations to be had, and this would be the worst time for the Cowboys to have these conversations, considering they had to give out all this money. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm hoping Gallup can return to form. My expectation is somewhere between 7, given the money, but also from what I've seen and hearing, I'm going to say actually now 600 to 1,000 yards and maybe 5 to 8 touchdowns. If he can manage that, we're in good shape. If not, it really depends on the situation. If he gets hurt, but he was looking good, all right. But if he doesn't look good, gets hurt, now we're like, shit, what do we do? So, with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you're new on the way out. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, guys, have a good one. Goodbye.